Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first part of the course, which I've titled Fundamental Theories of the Purpose of Business. I thought that this would be a good place to start. One of the really interesting questions, I believe, in business ethics is really the philosophy of business. That is a certain starting point for thinking about the ethical aspects of business, and that is to really ask yourself what a business is for. This is done explicitly in one of our readings from the second week by Homer Saracen, The Objective of the Enterprise, which I think really changed my whole thinking about business ethics, especially as a teacher and just as a subject. Saracen wrote a manual for business executives. He was actually part of the American team or the American administration in post-war Japan, which was tasked with actually helping to rebuild Japanese industry. And Saracen wrote a management manual for Japanese business executives. And what we'll see is that one of the things he says to them in the practical context of being managers is that you have to have a notion of what you are about. That is, what is this business for? What is this thing for? And he gives a certain answer to that. I think that that's a great question, and that it's probably the best place to begin in any philosophy course about business, ethics or not, is to ask what we believe the fundamental purpose of a business to be. The first part of the course explores three possible answers to that. And if you look at the main manual, you see that I characterize those answers, which is an interpretation in each case of the reading for that week. Week one, profit, the idea that the purpose of business is profit. Week two, social function, the idea that the purpose of business is to provide some sort of service to the community. And week three, customers, what I mean by that is that according to this point of view, the purpose of a business is to serve the needs of its customers. None of these are necessarily completely distinct. There's certainly some overlap between the second and third, although I do think that they are, in fact, different, very different. But they do have similarities in a way that, say, week one, the idea that a purpose of a business is to make profits really does exclude the other two, I believe. That they become, at best, secondary or tertiary. So the first part of the course, and the readings are Milton Friedman, very famous essay he wrote, The Social Responsibility of Business and to Increase Its Profits. These two excerpts from week two, classics, a brief excerpt from the beginning of Saracen's training manual, and then a fairly brief essay from a classic book on business ethics and social theory, R.H. Tawney's The Acquisitive Society. And then finally, an essay by Levitt, Marketing Myopia, which really is I think lays out the position that the purpose of a business has to be narrowly focused, I think, on serving the needs of its customers. But this gives us a certain array of choices in terms of fundamentally how we regard a business, what its purpose is, whether we believe that it is something that should be focused on profit, maximization of profit, whether we believe that a business should think of itself as having some sort of social function, adding some sort of good to the community, or whether we should think that a business is something that should focus simply on the needs of its customers. These provide us certainly not with the only three ways of thinking about the purpose of a business, but with three very central and influential ways of thinking of the purpose of a business.